Electronic Monitoring in the Workplace with a focus on Verizon, presented by Julia, Ellen, and Michael. Electronic monitoring has become a modern tool in the workplace that is widely used in many industries to ensure proficiency, appropriate usage of technology, and to safeguard company information. Different types of legal issues are discussed to prepare future employees, current employees, or the company itself on legal matters and rights that they have. There are many ways that electronic monitoring occurs, including email, internet, phone, keystroke, and video monitoring, all of which will be expanded on during this presentation. Verizon as a company deals heavily with technology, as that is the service they provide to their customers. They provide strict limitations on employee use of email and internet that is provided to each employee during the hiring process when they receive their employee handbook. Employees are also reminded of these rules when logging into the employee account, where they are required to agree to these limitations every time they attempt to log in. Some of these limitations include anything considered unlawful, anything that violates company policies, or results in Verizon's liability or embarrassment. Some examples of online activity violating Verizon's policies are obscene, offensive, harassing, or discriminatory content. Gambling is also prohibited, as well as any software that could compromise the company's security. All online activities are monitored. Company email is also monitored and limited in content. Among prohibited activities in email is mass chain messages, plagiarism, advertising for other companies, or emails sent on behalf of an outside organization. Large audio and video files are prohibited, as well as emails containing classified information.
Phone monitoring is used widely today throughout the workplace. Phone monitoring is an easy way to ensure call compliance policies with not only the state but also federal regulations. This type of monitoring can also be used for training purposes by using previous phone calls as examples on what to do and what not to do. Employees overall have conformed to the idea that their phone will be monitored by their employer while at work, but normally do not realize that what they say on the phone could potentially be used against them. Verizon's Code of Conduct states that they have the right to monitor and record on company property, which includes company phones. Their policy also allows a search of personal property whenever they feel fit. One of the main issues with phone monitoring is the lack of privacy an individual has, either as a worker or even a customer. Almost all service lines, including Verizon's, warns the customer even before talking to a representative that their call may be monitored for quality service. Verizon is able to look back at each service call in order to learn from their mistakes and provide feedback for their products and also their employees. Verizon's Code of Conduct states that they are able to video monitor and record any interactions occurring within the workplace. These recordings, as explained by Verizon, are used to encourage quality of service overall and even safety within the workplace. Another reason why Verizon uses video monitoring is in order to investigate any issues at the workplace, including illegal activity on any of Verizon's property. The company must have their employees' permission, but this is regulated during the signing of the employee's contract when they first join Verizon. The employees are allowed to record themselves at the workplace as well if they are granted permission from Verizon and their fellow coworkers if anyone else is involved within the recording. This style of monitoring is increasing because companies are able to use videos as training opportunities. Video allows Verizon to show interactions at their training modules for different types of jobs within their company because people can learn through examples and even through visual context.
Companies that rely on keystroke monitoring do so for a variety of reasons. In today's times of theft of intellectual property, asset protection is a priority for any large business. Companies more and more are taking advantage of these types of keystroke monitoring agreements in their code of conduct or company policies to defend themselves against lawsuits, theft of secrets, or theft of resources. In today's digital age, the right to privacy on personal company machines is a thing of the past. A random internet search will reveal just how popular the software is for such monitoring. However it will be done, it's important for the companies to be upfront and honest about it to avoid any appearance of impropriety and be fully aware of the stage they are setting in relationship between employer and employee. Under the guise of compliance requirements, companies like Verizon are tracking every keystroke to ensure mandatory compliance to its corporate code of conduct guidelines. There have been legal challenges to employers' monitoring of activity of their employees. In a recent case that went to the Supreme Court, a police officer argued that his employer reading his text messages on his company device violated the Fourth Amendment for unreasonable searches. The Supreme Court ultimately disagreed in a decision 9-0, saying that at issue was whether the Fourth Amendment's ban on unreasonable searches puts any limits on those searches by public employees. The court said the limits were minimal so long as the employer had a work-related purpose for inspecting an employee's desk or reading messages. Under federal law, employers have the right to monitor their employees and perform work for the company on company-owned devices. State laws about workplace monitoring efforts vary across the United States, mostly around consent issues, whether the monitoring occurs via email, audio, video, or keystroke. Legal experts generally recommend that organizations communicate with employees about monitoring and get written confirmation that employees consent to.
There are pros and cons to electronic monitoring. While surveillance by management ensures appropriate use of technology and time, it also creates a tense relationship between employer and employee. Electronically stored information creates the equivalent of electronic DNA. The ability to pinpoint wrongful usage makes employees feel that they are not trusted and violates the sense of privacy while on the clock. However, the benefit for companies is huge. They are able to increase productivity, prevent security breaches, immediately identify misuse of computer systems, and prevent outside advertising. Electronic monitoring is used widely through video surveillance, email and internet monitoring, keystroke monitoring, and even phone recordings. The electronic information gathered allows companies to improve customer satisfaction and safeguard their business. Companies utilizing these tools struggle to balance trust between the employer and employee while allowing the employee a sense of privacy. Monitoring is disclosed to employees when hired and provided in the employee handbook. At that time, they accept and consent to these practices. The benefits far outweigh the negative drawbacks to electronic monitoring. There is an overall technology improvement, which in turn transfers into better business practices and successful earnings.